Hello everyone, it is BS Radar time, hashtag BS Radar. I've got Ang McManamon out of New York. How are you today, Ang?
Hey Russ, good. How you doing?
I'm doing really, really well. For those that haven't tuned in to the BS Radar before, basically what I do is I tap founders and leaders on the shoulder, and I want to find out their one hot tip to sniff out the BS from a candidate in a job interview. Now, Ang, you've had heaps of really senior roles over the last number of years at some pretty big businesses. What is your go-to to try to sniff out the BS from a candidate? Go.
Where do you rank in your sales organization? So that's my question.
Yep.
And typically I've been at some smaller startups, so they usually give me a number, right? And top 5% is what I'm trying to look for. One or three reps, right? Top reps. And typically that's what I want to hear.
Yep.
But if they're outside of that ideal performance, why? Follow-up question is typically why? Like, why weren't you number one, number two, number three?
Yep.
And here's where you hear a lot of bullshit, right? You get, oh, I came in, I didn't get a book of business. I wasn't there for 5 years. The number 1, 2, and 3 rep were there for 5 years.
Yep.
So what? Bullshit. Build your book of business. Have confidence in your sales, skills, and better. So that's where I call bullshit. It's sort of like an excuse, like, oh, so you joined the company 3 years later and got the shit end of the stick.
Yeah.
Build your brand, right? Build yourself, build in using your sales skills and go after performance. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, totally. And what are some of the good things you've heard, like with people who've they've built their brand, they've been able to build their skills and their book in the business? Like, what sort of things are you listening out for them to say?
Yeah, I think just honestly, work ethic and grit and grind, right?
Yeah.
And that's and hearing that story, maybe they came in at number 10 and then they ended at number 4, like that. As a sales leader, that's the best story in the world. Getting people better and building them up. So yeah, you always want to hire number ones. There's not a ton of number ones out there, right? And they're
probably really happy. Like if you're a salesperson, you're really competitive and you've built a good book and you're just great at what you do, you're probably really happy. So the likelihood of finding those top reps is pretty tough.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably staying at that, that role for a while, in that job. But yeah, it's the number 10s that want to be 5s, need help, need coaching, and they're open to it, right? They're admitting to what they need to work on, the skills that they need to kind of sharpen a little bit.
Yeah.
Those are the people that, those B+ players that you bring them to an A, those are the big wins.
Totally. And the ones, I guess, too, that can tell that, because I guess if they can add some richness to that story in how they're telling you of that growth, then you get a bit of a feel for, okay, cool, this person can probably engage a prospect in a really good way as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And now they're like showing an example of their sales skill by telling a good story, keeping me engaged, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear the end of this. Okay, well, where did you end up last year results? So yeah.
Exactly. Love it. That's a great tip. Thanks so much, Ang, for jumping on BS Radar. If you're not following Ang on LinkedIn, jump on. She does great content. She's with the 5 on 5. How do you say it? 5 on Friday? She's with the 5 on Friday crew as well. But yeah, if you've got any questions or tips about this particular BS Radar little tip, please just pop them in the comments below. Thank you again, Ang, for jumping on.
Thanks, Russ.
Cheers.
See ya.